Hello everyone, good morning. This is Sage live from 𝐶𝐞 studio here in Sydney, and you are watching the opening bell. While the commodities, supercycle and key economic data are closely eyed by market participants, virus concerns continues to suppress the market momentum. Let us cast an eye over how the market charter is panning out today. S&P ASX 200 is trading up today, gaining 0.54% during the early morning trade. Travel sector stocks seem to be under the spotlight amid economic reopening and the subdued domestic virus concerns. The commodity prices had surged to new highs, and the US dollar index fell to two-month lows, and major equity indices had climbed to record highs on Friday as weak US jobs data for April 2021 calmed down the worries that a booming economy would spark inflation higher. Australian energy companies such as Santos Limited, Woodside Petroleum Limited and Oil Search Limited could be under the spotlight amid broader oil price dynamics. The Brent crude futures increased by 19 cents to close at US $68.28 a barrel on Friday, and WTI Crude futures shot up by 19 cents as well and settled at US $64.90 a barrel. Moreover, the Organisation of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, would release its monthly report on the global crude oil market on Tuesday. It is also to be seen if the commodities supercycle witnessed last week maintained some momentum today. The US gold futures closed 0.9% up at $1,831.30 an ounce. Gold posted its biggest weekly gain of about 3.5% since early November 2020. Aluminium prices surpassed the highest level since 2018, and copper hit an all-time high as investors bet on a rapid global recovery from the pandemic. Iron ore futures also notched up to a record high. Australian gold miners such as Newcrest Mining Limited, Ramelius Resources, Silver Lake Resources, Gold Resources, De Grey Mining Limited and Northern Star Resources Limited could have a green trading session today. And on the other hand, other miners are also expected to show some rally in today's session. These include Rio Tinto, Fortescue Metals Group Limited, BHP Group Limited and their peers. Moving on now to the major newsmakers. Premium branded dairy nutritional company A2 Milk said that even as its third quarter of 21 sales were in line with the plan at Australian $295 million, the actions to address challenges have not resulted in sufficient improvement in pricing, sales and inventory levels in the Daigou or reseller and CBEC channels. Then one of Australia's largest entertainment groups, Crown Resorts, announced that it has received an unsolicited, conditional, non-binding and indicative proposal from the Star Entertainment Group to merge with Crown by way of a scheme of arrangement. Next, gambling and entertainment company Sky City Entertainment said that it has priced its retail bond offer for its 6-year unsecured, unsubordinated fixed-rate bonds maturing on May 21st, 2027. The next big update is that global investment management business Pendal will buy Thompson, Segal and Walmsley, a US-based value-oriented investment management company, for US $320 million. Then sports wagering operator and iGaming provider PointsBet Holding said that PointsBet USA Inc. has entered into a binding agreement to acquire Premier Turf Club. And moving on, financial player AMP will begin its on-market share buyback of up to 200 million Australian dollars from today. Next, waste management company Cleanaway Waste Management has appointed Mark Schubert as its new Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director. Then Diversified Global Mining Services Group Perenti announced that its chairman Ian Cochrane will step down with immediate effect for health reasons. Moving on now to the cryptocurrency space, Dogecoin had caught attention on Sunday when the currency dropped by a massive 35%. The cryptocurrency declined after touching a record high level of 70 US cents early on Saturday, when it was just 30 cents away from the US $1 mark. And however, after the fall, Dogecoin bounced back from the lower levels, recovering more than half of the fall. The price surged after Musk tweeted a picture of a Shiba Inu with him on the set of the iconic NBC show, Saturday Night Live. Let us now look at the US market performance overnight that is closely tracked across the global markets. Dow Jones closed the session at a record high of $34,778 on Friday. The S&P 500 had also climbed to a new high, closing at $4,233. The Nasdaq closed 0.88% up at 13,752. For the week, the Dow Jones was up 2.65%, the S&P 500 1.23%, and the Nasdaq fell 1.51%. Looking at the major economic data release of the last week, against widespread forecasts of the US economy adding about 1 million jobs in April 2021, the latest employment report released by the Labor Department showed that the economy added a disappointing 266,000 jobs last month. The report came as a surprise for investors as the US dollar turned sharply lower and Treasury yields plummeted. However, the US shares rose on expectations that the central bank's monetary policy will stay conducive to economic growth for a prolonged period. And as per the US Bureau of Labour Statistics, the unemployment rate rose slightly from 6% to 6.1%, and the number of unemployed persons stood at 9.8 million last month. While these measures were significantly down from their recent highs in April 2020, they prevail well above their levels seen prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. A slower hiring pace, as depicted from the jobs data, doused fears that the US economy is poised to roar on pent-up consumer demand, would spur inflation and force interest rates higher. It is expected that the US interest rates will stay at quite a low level for a while, and that is going to keep the pressure on the dollar. The dollar index slid 0.73%. The yield on the benchmark 10-year US Treasury note fell to a two-month low of 1.469% before rebounding, and the 10-year US Treasury yield closed 1.3 basis points up at 1.5735%. And on that note, let us see what can impact the markets during the week. The Australian Bureau of Statistics, or ABS, would release retail sales data for reference period March 2021 and first quarter on Monday. In February, the retail trade fell 0.8% month on month. In addition, NAB business conditions and confidence data would also be released. The US is scheduled to release the April numbers for consumer price inflation on Wednesday, and retail prices are on the rise, and for the first time in a year, the prices have breached the Federal Reserve's 2% target. Next, the UK is set to release its first GDP estimates for the January-March quarter on Wednesday. On the same day, China would release consumer and factory inflation data. It would show if producer prices were on the rise, adding to global inflation pressures. Census results would also finally be released this week. Thanks so much for your time watching, and that's all for now. Stay tuned for more live updates on 𝐾𝐿KIND TV across the economy, markets and sectors. Sage signing off for now.